really excited about these, you guys. Like, really. Hi everybody, today I'm taking a look at the Zebra Zensations Fineliners. These were suggested to me by one of you in the comments, and I went and took a look. I had never even heard that these existed. I know about Zebra Serasa pens. I've shown them before, the gel pens of them. I use the Zebra Mildliners, and I love them. So when I saw that they were Fineliners, I was like, ooh. So I went and I ordered. The 24 pack is the largest pack I can find. I saw a 12 pack and a 24 pack, and these are 0.8 millimeter. They say fine, but that's thicker, like twice as thick as most of the other fine liners I've tested, which are 0.4. I generally like a thicker tip. That's sort of my favorite thing in the world because they tend to stand up really well to heavy hands.
Yeah.
I'm excited, but I haven't tried them yet. They're still even sealed. I haven't opened the package, so this is absolutely a first impressions of them. So let's take a look. They are vibrant, quick drying, water resistant with a metal reinforced tip, and the tip is porous. So it also says that it shouldn't bleed through paper. So those are all things we're going to check. It's about $37 on Amazon with Prime shipping, and that was as of the recording of this video. There is also a 12 pack you can get for like 19 bucks. These are a little bit pricier than some of the other fine liners I've tried, but when I compare everything in July, which is when the fine liner roundup has been moved to, I will check the prices versus how many you get. This container that they come in is kind of like a plastic situation, like the bendy, like laminate type plastic. These feel super light, like super flimsy. Like if I wasn't looking at it, this feels like a pen that I would get from like the Target dollar spot. There is a really hardy pen clip, which makes sense because the Zebra Serasa clip of the gel pens have one of the strongest, like most useful little clip right here. So having a nice fat clip, this is something that is way better than any of the other fine liners I've tried. Most of them don't have a clip at all, and if they do, it's very small and very flimsy. So that's super cool. The barrel is like smooth but shiny plastic, and it has like a gradient of the color on it, and then the actual clip itself also has the color of the ink. It does not say the color name on it, it just has the picture of the color. Much like the Le Pens, these are very short pens. As I've said in the Le Pen video, the short pens tend to make my hand cramp up, so that's not a big thing for me, like a big plus for me. That's kind of a negative. The caps cap really nicely. You can hear them cap, and when they come off, you almost hear like a kind of sound to it, which is kind of cool. And the caps fit very firmly on the end, and because it's so firm, it actually increases the length of the pen a little bit because this doesn't feel like it's going to come off at all. That might help. The tip is metal encased. It looks very similar to like these Pilot V point, the Pilot V razor point fine liners, and it looks like it might be the same size. I'll kind of check these against each other because these are also pretty fat tips. It looks about the same size. Now, writing with this feels very comfortable. I'll give you some more heads up on that after I swatch, because that usually when you're using 24 of these in a row, it gives you a better idea of how comfortable they write with. So let's check some of the claims really quick because these do have a few. So the first claim is quick drying. Well, that's smeared right off the bat. And it's smeared exactly the same weight in a second. Give it a couple seconds, it doesn't smear. So maybe I expect like instantaneous drying. We'll see how they fare with the left-handed test when my daughter tests these with me when I do the live for the big roundup. I usually have my daughter, who's a lefty, test to make sure that they work for them. The quick drying does not really seem very accurate. They say that they're water resistant, so I'm going to run my water brush over it and see. This one has had some time to dry, so we'll try this. A little tiny bit of the color picks up, but very, very little, which is really nice. Now, the final thing I want to check is to like how smooth and easy the ink comes. Doesn't take a lot of pressing down, and I'm pressing down kind of hard, and it does sort of, when I press down hard, it does make the tip show a little bit more, but it doesn't really show any wear and tear on the tip. However, it does feel like I'm putting some pain onto the tip, so I would imagine that these probably could have a bit of a problem when it comes to heavy-handedness writing over a long time, but I'm not going to know that right away. We'll see how it looks after I'm done swatching, but then I will do some more testing on these in between now and when I do the big roundup in July, and I'll be able to give you a better idea of whether or not they've like gotten fucking destroyed with my heavy hand. I'm gonna take a second here and create a swatch page in my bullet journal and then swatch all of the colors. Here are the colors, and oh man, dude, I'm disappointed. Like, I'm gonna be honest. These colors are not bright or vibrant at all. Take a look at the difference between these colors and the Le Pens, or the Stattlers, or the Stabilos. These are muted. These colors, I'm trying to like adjust the light. I feel like the light is very bright, but like looking at these colors, they almost look like the highlighters. Like they don't look like bright colors. Even if I mix them up and this ruby red and this red are the opposite colors of each other, neither of them, like even the black is not that black. It's really muted and kind of thin almost, like the paper, like transparent, so the paper shows through like a highlighter. I don't think there is a single color here that I consider to be very vibrant, and if I compare them to the actual pens themselves, while the tones seem to be similar, I wish that the colors were as vibrant as the tones on the pens, as opposed to like a washed out version. Writing with these guys, my hand got a little cramped up, and it was mostly because I did not stick the cap on the end of the pens like I should have. I was just sort of like barreling through them, no pun intended. But if I'd stuck the times I did put the cap on the end of the pen, my hand didn't cramp at all. So I think that these might be small barrel pens, but if you put the cap on the end, it's so solidly on there that it makes the pen feel longer. So you just need to remember to do that if short pens make your hands cramp. There are 4 fluorescent colors: pink, yellow, green, and purple. And the yellow and the green, you can barely see them on here. The pink and the purple show up, but they're just as muted as the rest of the colors. Like these, they're just so washed out, which makes me sad because like the tip is so comfortable to write with, and the pen, when you have the cap on it, is comfortable to hold, and it's a nice range of colors. Although I will say that even if the colors were brighter, some of them seem like they're misnamed. Like the light magenta is more of a purple. There's not a good like range of greens. I feel like the silver and the gold are kind of useless. They're not shiny, so you could get damn near the same, very close to the same colors in the gray and the brown or the dark brown, and I would get rid of those and maybe add an additional green and maybe add an additional actual red. I don't know, but there's 4 blues, 2 greens, 1 purple, 1 orange. Like it feels very unbalanced, and for this being the whole collection, I feel like it could have been juggled a little bit differently for my tastes. But these being more expensive than some of the other fine liners, I don't know if I can recommend these. So here are my Mildliners, and same company. I'm telling you, looking at these, the Mildliners, the actual highlighters are brighter than the fine liners. These brights on this end, a lot of the tones are similar to what you see here, but these are so much brighter than the pens. Like if they're using the same ink, and I mean they could be, because like this ruby red and this red look very similar to each other. This brown and this vermilion, gold and yellow and gold, not all of them, but some of them look similar. So if they were using similar ink, why couldn't they have like bumped up the pigment in the actual pens themselves? Now, they're right. They don't bleed. They don't bleed at all. But that doesn't surprise me because there's like no darkness to these pens. So they are great planner pens, but they're not easy to read. That's my final call on these. So if I'm going to tell you right off the bat what I feel about these pens, I feel like they're kind of disappointing. I wish that the size of the tip, the shape of the barrel, even with the shortness, the comfort with writing with them for the most part, as long as I kept the cap on, all things I like, but they're expensive and the colors are not very strong for what you're getting. If I was going to be in the market for fine liners, I'd probably take a hard pass on these. They'll be compared to the other colorful fine liners next month, but for right now, these are low on my list of colorful fine liners that I would recommend. Like the brand. I like Zebra. I like a lot of their other colors, but these just, unless I got a dried out fucking pair or something, I'm not really all over these. And what about you? What fine liners are you interested in? Have you tried these and yours turned out better than my example, or are you right there with me? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.